On World News Tonight this Sunday, a deadly market trip. NATO missiles hit a crowded bridge, killing at least 9 civilians and injuring dozens. 240 miles above Earth, a working holiday for the Discovery astronauts. And a dangerous race to stay thin. Jockeys risking their health to win.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight, Sunday.
Good evening, I'm Carol Simpson. On the eve of the holiday dedicated to American servicemen and women who died in battle, another heavy day of bombing in Yugoslavia. Today, NATO increased its daytime strikes. Airfields, army barracks, radio and TV stations were hit. But tonight, at least 11 civilians are dead. Many more are injured. We begin with ABC's Bob Woodruff.
NATO attacked this bridge over the Morava River just after noon today. Witnesses say 2 planes flying low dropped 3 bombs while dozens of civilians were walking across. The evidence of death is everywhere.
2 of my friends are dying today.
2 of your friends died there?
Yes, my friends.
Some on the bridge were washed into the river, people here say. Others were killed instantly. Police showed the media 8 bodies and said there was also a 9th, a 15-year-old girl. There were so many people on this bridge here in Varvrin because Sunday is market day, and this was the only way over the river. What can I say, this woman cried. We were afraid they were going to hit that bridge. They were afraid, perhaps, because this bridge, 75 miles from Kosovo, was one of only a few still standing and usable to the Yugoslav army. According to the state news agency, the attack also cut power and phone lines. NATO had no comment on the bombing, but a spokesman for Allied forces in Europe said the bridge was a major line of communication and therefore a legitimate target. But if they really wanted to bomb the bridge, this man asked, why didn't they do it overnight when there are no people going home from the marketplace? In this quiet farming community, the people are now filled with anger. I'm hoping this is my last day in civilian clothes, this man says. Tomorrow, I am going to Kosovo. Bob Woodruff, ABC News, Varvrin.
Kosovo was also a target of NATO's strikes today. 1 missile hit a convoy of foreign journalists, killing the driver and injuring at least 2 of the writers, 1 British, 1 French. New details about alleged atrocities are emerging from last week's indictment charging Slobodan Milosevic with war crimes. Last March, ABC News reported first word of an alleged Serb offensive on the village of Izbica. Since then, ABC's Martha Raddatz has been piecing together the story of what happened in that one village. A warning, some of the images are very graphic. Tonight, the anatomy of an alleged war crime.
It began on a Sunday in late March with the vaguest of intelligence accounts. Just days before NATO bombs started to fall, Serb forces were said to be moving in near the village of Izbica. 1 week later, with refugees now streaming out of Kosovo, word quickly spread to investigators of a terrible assault inside Izbica.
It was shelled, then it was surrounded by snipers, and then paramilitary and police swept through the town block by block, cleaning out the houses.
By mid-April, word of mouth was now backed up by hard evidence. Satellite photos of Izbica clearly showing 3 long lines of freshly dug graves. By mid-May, those images from the air were corroborated by gruesome scenes from the ground, a videotape smuggled out of Kosovo by a Kosovar Albanian journalist. Row after row of massacred villagers, old men, most of them, tortured faces which now have names. Baruch Barami, age 75, Muharrem Fatahi, age 80, 95-year-old Salim Nabihi. The indictment against Slobodan Milosevic lists 95 men killed at Izbica. 3 of the men were in their 90s, 8 in their 80s, 15 in their 70s. Grandfathers, fathers separated from the women and children in a quiet meadow, says the indictment, and slaughtered.
Izbica represents a real example of what ethnic cleansing is like. It's extremely important that the leaders who actually perpetrate these crimes are brought to justice.
Izbica is one of 7 villages named in the indictment where mass executions have been documented. But this indictment will not end the investigation into war crimes. A senior official tells ABC News that Slobodan Milosevic will likely be named in many indictments to come. Martha Raddatz, ABC News at the State Department.
Among all the heartbreaking refugee stories, one with a happy ending. Last night, 19-year-old Venera Mustafa became Miss Albania 1999, the first ethnic Albanian to win the crown. She fled from Kosovo with her family and now lives in a refugee camp in Tirana. In other news, Discovery astronauts will be back on the job tonight, making some needed repairs inside the International Space Station. The crew put in some long hours last night, as ABC's Ned Potter reports.
240 miles above the Earth, the spacewalkers climbed slowly between the shuttle's cargo bay and the outside of the new space station to which it was docked. They were helped by crewmates inside who maneuvered the shuttle's robot arm as a celestial cherry picker.
Okay, thanks for the ride.
They attached parts of 2 cranes to the station and left tools and footholds for future spacewalkers.
We've just passed the 4-hour mark of this planned 6-hour spacewalk.
In the end, actually, the walk ran over by 2 hours, but NASA called it successful. Important because assembly of the station will require more spacewalks than there have been since the dawn of the space age.
Each of these spacewalk crews on each of these flights is trained for specific kinds of work. The better that each one does its job, the next crew's job is easier.
In fact, though, this entire mission was never in the original plan of almost 90 launches to build the station. It was added in part because Russia wasn't holding up its part of the bargain. In a deal involving 16 countries, Russia is building key station components, including the first living quarters. But they've been delayed more than a year by Russia's unending economic crisis.
About half the equipment brought up on this flight was stuff the Russians originally thought they could carry. Turns out they didn't have the capability, so it's fallen to us to carry it up into space.
Discovery's astronauts will spend the next few days unloading supplies and making some vital repairs. After this mission, there may be a 6-month lull. But everyone knew it would be hard. Never in peacetime has there ever been an international project like this. Ned Potter, ABC News, New York.
Still ahead on World News Tonight this Sunday, Tiananmen Square surprises 10 years later. A leap into the past in South Africa, and the handwriting of war from the men and women who lived it.
This is World News Tonight, Sunday, brought to you by Yukon Denali.
Some nations are born. This one was built. Built by heroes who for 97 years have driven trucks with the strength to match their own. The GMC Yukon continues its tradition. An SUV that combines comfort with the power to do more than expected. So to the heroes out there, we make this promise. You keep building this land, we'll supply the trucks. The Yukon by GMC.
The party's in there, so why am I out here? Gas. Again.
Maximum Strength Fazyme has 33% more medicine doctors recommend.
One little pill, and I'm back.
Serious medicine for serious gas. Fazyme.
There are at least 100 questions every home buyer should ask. Like, how much down payment do I need? Can I buy a $200,000 home with an FHA loan? Do I really need homeowners insurance? Luckily, HUD's FHA has the answers. We've helped 25 million Americans buy a home. Call for our free brochure.
You are a superhero to someone, so act like one and take your Mega Men multivitamins exclusively from GNC with 39 premium ingredients for men, like natural vitamin E and ginseng that other brands don't have. GNC. Live well.
There was more fallout today from the Cox Committee report on Chinese espionage. On the Sunday talk shows, Congress got some of the blame for not taking steps to tighten security at U.S. nuclear weapons labs. And Secretary of Energy Bill Richardson said some people in his department would lose their jobs.
There were incompetent acts.
security was not considered important and counterintelligence was not considered as important as it should be. And at least under the people in my department, there should be accountability.
The FBI at that time made some very, very significant proposals. It was given to Mr. Shelby from the Senate Select Committee. There were 26 recommendations in there, and I never heard anything since then again.
Were the recommendations acted on?
As far as I know, there are not.
I can tell you that in 1996, that the Senate Intelligence Committee did respond to counterintelligence at the labs, wrote basically a directive to the labs to do something about it, put additional money in it. That was for the year 97.
Congressman Christopher Cox, who chaired the Committee on Chinese Espionage, said today he is convinced that China stole secrets on every weapon in the U.S. nuclear arsenal. This week marks the 10th anniversary of the Chinese military crackdown in Tiananmen Square. Today in Hong Kong, pro-democracy demonstrators took to the streets in memory of the uprising. Some of the students at the center of the protest a decade ago have very different lives today. Here's ABC's Bill Redeker.
She was one of the most visible, most charismatic leaders of the pro-democracy movement. 10 years later, Chai Ling is a capitalist with a capital C, a CEO, in fact, of an internet company financed in part by Microsoft executives. Maybe not so surprising, considering economic reform was one of the main demands of the protesters in Tiananmen Square.
I refuse to be simply an icon of the history and stay in the past, because I don't believe that's the only way to help China.
By fleeing to the United States, Chai Ling was able to further her education at Harvard and Princeton. Her company, Genzabar.com, links students and professors worldwide.
This kind of new media will absolutely transform a totalitarian regime into a democratic society.
I was a deputy commander of the student protest movement at the time.
Li Lu, who was Chai Ling's deputy, also refuses to live in the past. Today, he too has embraced capitalism. He's a hedge fund manager in New York City.
American dream is also reflected in what most of the Chinese want to do, especially the young generations.
Li Lu attended Columbia University, where he earned both a law and business degree.
Everybody on Earth, I believe, share pretty much the same dream. Live in free, in prosperity, work honestly and hard.
Both of the exiles say they want to return to China someday to help their people, and, admits Li Lu, to help themselves deal with their guilt.
You feel guilt for two reasons. One, so many people died, and yet I'm still alive. And secondly, so many people lost their freedom, lost their school, lost their job, lost their opportunity, and yet I find freedom.
Freedom here, but not back home. Neither can return to China. Both are at the top of China's most wanted list. Bill Redeker, ABC News, New York.
Up next, the ghost of apartheid still haunting South Africa.
When it comes to your health, never compromise, even when choosing a laxative. You need one that's strong enough to work overnight, but also gentle. Try doctor-recommended Dulcolax. It's both strong and gentle. It even has a special comfort coating to protect your stomach. In fact, doctors recommend Dulcolax most, more than Correctol and Senecot combined. Don't compromise. Get strong, get gentle, get doctor-recommended Dulcolax. And for strong and gentle relief in minutes, get Dulcolax suppositories.
It's barbecue season, the busiest time of the year for your deck, which is why you should protect it with Thompson's Wood Protector. Nothing we make works harder, longer. For rain, sun, mildew, or low-flying meat, Thompson's Wood Protector, it never takes a day off.
Even though you might not know Delphi Automotive Systems, we're probably in your garage right now. You see, chances are we're in your vehicles, having developed the first car radio and production airbag, not to mention the future innovations that will revolutionize the way you drive. With 36 countries and growing, we're practically everywhere. Even though you may not see us. Delphi Automotive Systems, driving tomorrow's technology.
Have you asked your doctor about Flonase yet?
Flonase nasal spray. Ask your doctor for a trial of Flonase.
What are you waiting for?
Call 1-800-FLONASE to learn more about Flonase nasal spray.
All you want is Flonase.
In other news overseas, South Africa holds its second democratic election this Wednesday. Today, a final push for votes on the campaign trail. Although President Nelson Mandela is stepping down, his African National Congress is expected to remain in power. But despite the reforms that the ANC has started, there are still some people who want to hold on to the past. Here's ABC's Jim Wooten.
In the middle of nowhere, in this hard, harsh land, a place called Oranje, where it's safe to say Nelson Mandela's party won't get a single vote. For this is where a few intractable Afrikaners have come to build a new country, much like the old one, with their traditions and language, their religion and values.
We say Afrikaners identify themselves.
Karl Boshoff runs the private company that owns this private town. Buy a house or a lot, you buy a share in the company, and in a future homeland for thousands who believe Afrikaners are a chosen people. After 8 years, fewer than 700 have chosen Oranje.
Who would want to live here?
The Afrikaners, because nobody else wants to live here, so this is now our home.
Most who do live here are, like Rolene de Klerk, younger South Africans who see themselves as pioneers.
We believe that Afrikaners as a distinct ethnic group with a distinct national history in South Africa has to take a special place and has to be recognized as such.
There is yet another credential for living in this wilderness, in this little town with its big ideas. Beyond Afrikaner philosophy, tradition, and religion, there is also the color of one's skin. Like so many other things in South Africa, Oranje is mostly about race.
We are what we are, and we're proud of what we are. We belong to the white race, the Western civilization, and we have certain values, and we'd like to live them out.
In other words, no blacks. Not at the dairy, not in the fields, not anywhere. The children, 40 of them now, are being taught to help build a new Afrikaner homeland. With its own anthem and with its own flag. So far, 6 kids have gone off to college. After graduation, 4 didn't come back. Jim Wooten, ABC News, Oranje, South Africa.
When we come back, getting back on track, the jockey's secret struggle.
Enough arthritis, pain, and inflammation.
Enough morning stiffness. Enough of these aching joints.
Had enough? Today, there are new treatment options to relieve your arthritis symptoms. Ask your doctor or pharmacist and call 1-800-ARTH-INFO for free information about new arthritis pain treatments. Because you've waited long enough.
One word convinced me an herbal could help maintain my cholesterol health. Centrum.
One word told me there's an advance in herbals for energy.
For my prostate, I'm taking the only herbal backed by Centrum Science.
Introducing Centrum Herbals. Some other brands can be missing natural ingredients because herbals can vary from plant to plant, dose to dose. Only Centrum uses Pharma Print to guarantee a more complete herbal every time.
One word can help make a difference in your health.
6 individual Centrum Herbals, naturally more complete.
What do you dream of when you dream of nothing?
Nothing for a down payment.
Nothing for a first month's payment.
Nothing for a security deposit.
For a total of nothing due at lease signing on Oldsmobile's award-winning Intrigue for a limited time with a lease offer of $2.99 a month. Call toll-free for details. Intrigue by Oldsmobile. Think nothing. Start something.
Look, I'll make you a deal. If you quit, I quit.
Okay, Daddy. I just quit. Deal?
Nicoderm CQ.
I know you're not big on help in general.
If you're
but
serious, you don't need help.
when I got serious, I realized I do need it.
CQ gives you a 24-hour stream of medicine that's with you whenever cravings come, even when you first wake up. Nicoderm CQ.
Hey, a deal.
It's a deal.
Quit for World No Tobacco Day, May 31st.
In sports today, the 83rd annual Indy 500. Comedian and car enthusiast Jay Leno helped kick off the festivities at Indianapolis Motor Speedway and later took a turn in a pace car. Kenny Breck of Sweden came up the winner. For horse racing fans, it's the height of the season in the U.S. with next week's running of the Belmont Stakes rounding out the Triple Crown. For the men and women behind the reins, there's a constant and heavy pressure, not just to win, but to stay thin. More from ABC's Jane Clayson.
In thoroughbred horse racing, jockeys know their weight can change the outcome of a race. 10 years ago, Patrick Valenzuela won the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness.
A lot of times, a jockey will be 2 to 3 pounds overweight on a horse. And if that horse loses by a nose, they'll say, well, hey, those 2 pounds cost us a race.
Thank you. Thank you guys. With today's weight restrictions, a jockey rarely carries more than 116 pounds, boots, whip, saddle, and all, which is why there is so much pressure on jockeys to be thin.
It's, I think, one of racing's kind of dirty little secrets is what the jockeys have to go through, so they get rid of weight any way they can.
Former jockey Bobby Montano agrees.
You look at that scale every day, you jump on that scale, and you either go like yes or oh my God, you know, because you just had to work twice as hard to lose that weight.
Hall of Fame jockeys like Chris Antley, who this year could become the first Triple Crown winner in 21 years, has admitted his obsession led to bulimia, use of laxatives, and dehydration.
Not only an obsession, it's a must.
Lafitte Pincay, the winningest jockey in the world, remembers a time when he'd split a peanut for dinner, or worse.
I used to take diet pills so I can keep my weight down, and I will fast. I used to take diuretics, and there was a time when I was throwing up my dinners.
And often jockeys say this obsession with weight leads to hardcore addiction. In the last 5 years, state racing commissions across the country have taken action against at least 160 jockeys for drug and alcohol abuse. Because of the weight restrictions in this country, some riders are moving to Europe, where weight demands are less severe. In the next 3 months, 5'5" Valenzuela admits he needs to lose 20 pounds.
I weigh about 132, and I need to weigh about 112.
But he says he'll do it in a way that won't jeopardize his career or his life. Jane Clayson, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Coming up, remembering war through letters from the front.
I never met a dog I didn't like, which is a good thing, considering some of the occupational hazards my friends put me through.
This is mine.
This is Herman.
Ooh, what do we have here?
A tick. That's why I choose Frontline for these guys. Frontline's the best, because it's the only one that protects them from fleas and disease-causing ticks, too. Sorry I kept you waiting, no matter who your best friend happens to be.
For fleas and ticks, veterinarians choose the Frontline of protection.
Okay, one more time. Up.
Discover the great-tasting fiber therapy that won't produce excess gas. Discover Citracel. People prefer the taste of Citracel over Metamucil 2 to 1. Taste tests prove it. Citracel. No excess gas and better taste, too.
The new Silverado interior is so big, there's plenty of room for seating. And, in a pinch...
Mommy said I could ride the pony.
Ample room for sleeping. Introducing Silverado, the truck from Chevrolet.
You are a superhero to someone, so act like one and take your Mega Men multivitamins exclusively from GNC with 39 premium ingredients for men, like natural vitamin E and ginseng that other brands don't have. GNC. Live well.
Tonight on The Practice.
I thought you swore off blind dates.
I did.
The Emmy winner for Best Drama heats up for the summer.
You slept with him on a second date.
The Practice, ABC tonight, 10, 9 Central.
Finally tonight, a unique look at the experience of war through the words of soldiers on the front line, writing letters to loved ones back home. On this Memorial Day weekend, ABC's Beth Nissen on the history and emotion captured on those pages.
January 12, 45. The big pieces of shrapnel whistle inches over your head and land in the snow, or rip the insides out of your friend behind you. Those thin lines of little men move always forward.
A letter home from an American soldier, one of thousands of wartime letters collected by Andy Carroll, an editor and historian in Washington, D.C.
I think any historian would agree that some of the best information we have comes through the letters of everyday people, people who witness firsthand these events.
To find more of these letters, Andy Carroll enlisted the help of Abigail Van Buren. Last Veterans Day, Dear Abby asked readers to send Carroll copies of Dad's and Grandpa's old war letters. They did.
There were bins and bins of letters, thousands of them, from all over the country.
More than 10,000 so far, written during every war involving Americans. From letters scribbled with a quill pen during the American Revolution, to messages emailed from the conflict over Kosovo.
The Serbs are hiding their equipment in disguised barns, garages, etc., making it difficult for our aircraft to target. Fact, we can't afford to take out every suspect barn, garage, etc.
Most of the letters were written by soldiers fighting on the ground, in Vietnam and Korea, and the several battlefronts of World War II. This soldier wrote to Mom and Dad after D-Day.
We hit water from an assault boat and waded ashore. There was quite a bit of noise around, of big guns being fired from ship to shore. So didn't realize was being shot at until saw slugs leaving their calling cards on the sand. Couldn't figure out where the enemy was that fired at us.
Andy Carroll says these letters are graphic proof of what war is truly like. Proof Americans, especially young ones, need to see.
The one war that my generation is familiar with is the Gulf War. And that was like an enormous video game. It was very technological, it was over very quickly, cool graphics, but that's not the reality of warfare.
This is.
Sometimes, if you can pry your head from the ground, as the shells whistle in, you can see a direct hit and watch a man fairly come apart. His clothes, helmet, and other equipment seem to blossom out. And when you trudge past, there's just a lot of blood and shredded flesh where he was.
Societies are like people. They forget things that they don't think they would ever forget, but we do. And we need to be reminded that war is the most savage and destructive act that can hit a society.
Beth Nissen, ABC News, New York.
And that's World News Tonight, Sunday. Later on 2020 Sunday, do you really know what charity you're giving your money to? You might be surprised. And tomorrow on Good Morning America, Indy 500 winner Kenny Brick. I'm Carol Simpson. For all of us here at ABC News, have a happy and safe Memorial Day holiday, and good night.
Monday, the facts about milk. Do they tell you everything you need to know? Should you challenge conventional wisdom? Watch ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
On 2020 Tonight, kids' sports are supposed to build character, so what's all this violence about?
Have the baselines, the yard lines become the battle lines these days for officials like you?
2020 Tonight.
Here are your toaster sandwiches. Thanks, Katie. These are my absolute favorite. Our new toaster sandwiches really let you be yourself. Because right now, you can choose a chicken melt or bacon patty melt, both topped with crispy bacon over a thick layer of smoked cheddar and grilled onions on big Texas toast. And 2 cherry limeade flurry drinks. We didn't order these. They're from Joe. And Jim.
Sonic America's Drive.
Treat yourself to our flurry drinks for just 99 cents this month.
Well, the South loves trucks, that's all there is to it.